Okay, so the earth element. Now, this one I think is best looked at from a Chinese frame, because the Chinese are very earthly. The Germans are very earthly, and the Chinese, and also the Japanese, believe it or not. The Japanese have a bit more maybe metal or water. The Chinese nowadays have a lot more fire, probably because the cigarettes and spicy food and all the industry and stuff, right? But the earth element in the body is the stomach and the spleen, and vaguely relates to the digestive system and bowels as well, right? It relates to earth, right? It is Saturn or Saturnian, and of course we're taught to fear Saturn. And so, Saturn's scary and harmful. The Chinese have a very good opinion on the earth element. They love the earth element. That's why gold is the sign, is the color of the king. Gold and red. Red for energy and the heart and such. Now, to cultivate the earth element, you have to essentially work a lot. If you could, the idea of a shit job, the idea of something being crap or lousy or something, is an excess of the earth, or a stagnant earth. You can think things that are routine and scheduled and boring is the world of the earth element, essentially. The animal is the cow or the ox. It's very stable. Just sits and just stands and eats all day. It just eats grass, and it has 4 stomachs. Dominated again by the stomach. The stomach is digestion, nutrition. It's the thing which allows us to gain matter, right? And the spleen is related to kind of energy storage and such. And also the muscles of the body is related to this. So glycogen, if you look at the glycogen, which is muscle sugar, so eating a lot of carbohydrate and just sweet things gives you a lot of energy, and then you store that energy in the muscles, right? And you now have more stamina, right? To do things, to work like an ox. This is related a lot to money, but it's slow and steady. Okay, so it's every day, you do a little bit of work, you make a little bit of money, and slowly over time you build up your finances. And any hard investment, like property or just material objects or investments, is related to earth. And I have this idea, this image of the earthly colors range from brown to kind of yellow to gold, and brown is unrefined earth, while gold is this refined version of earth, right? So in the body, of course, the stomach, if your earth elements are stressed, you will be under a lot of mental or psychological stress. So when the earth element is weak and stressed, our brains and digestion are under a lot of stress. Nervous system wise, your nerves basically get fried, yeah? If it is healthy, you have this buffer and this sense of peace. Painkillers is the medicine, so to speak, of earth, or earthly herbs. The stuff which opium came from is all related to the earth element. That's actually interesting. The Chinese got addicted to opium, and then they quit it for stimulants now, and now the Western world is addicted to opiates, because they are desperately seeking the earth element. There's this balance between earth and I guess metal almost, because you can think the earth and the sky with EMF and radio frequency and technology and all this stuff, it almost seems to devaluate the earth, is one way to put it, or drain the energy of the earth, which is why lead is anti-EMF, or it blocks radiation basically. So lead is like the mineral. Calcium is a supplement. You can take lots of calcium and it helps you with the earth element. So the idea of an NPC, or like a regular average person, average people are dominant in the earth element. That's why they're so successful in society, even though they are like very cowardly, very just following the grain. Regular people, it's like the NPC is a very interesting case study for psychology and life and such. I think we really should study the NPC and treat them as like a category of intellectual interest, because they're so fascinating with how just successful they happen to be while not really, putting in, I don't know, much intellectual effort, really. They just kind of are dominated by their cycle, and that seems to work out. And it's kind of like in a video game, you wouldn't expect the NPCs in World of Warcraft to like have financial issues or health issues, or like, that's a bit weird for a video game, isn't it? It's the same thing for life. You wouldn't expect the NPCs to like have trouble. It's just, it's because, again, the world is, we're in the material world, right? It's dominated. The world is dominated by the earth element. There's lots of air, there's lots of water, but what is everything around you? It's a physical object, pretty much, right? Or a piece of technology, which is like a physical object with magical properties. Maybe you have some drinks in your fridge, or you have like a cup of water next to you, but most things is earth. It's the earth element just dominates. It's just the primary one. So it's actually one of the most important to work with. If you have stomach issues, spleen issues, you can't grow muscles properly, or you just have stability issues, you need to learn to work with the earth element. And it actually opposes, as I said, the Kun trigram, which is earth, opposes Chan, which is the sky. Earth opposes spirituality. So it's kind of an issue where if you want to cultivate yourself spiritually, your earth element is going to suffer. But you can only bring as much spiritual wisdom and technology and art and all this stuff into the world as you have an earth element. So they are direct opposites, and training one will detriment the other. But you have to have, you have to have some earth element if you want to bring spiritual stuff into the world. And it's good to stabilize yourself. So, it's good to have both, right? That's why spiritual people, they suffer so much financially, and they're really bad at making money, because and being routined and all this stuff, and they have health issues. A lot of the time is they just lack, they have too much fire, too much metal, too much wood. They just lack the earth usually. So anyway, yeah, if you want to learn more about it, I recommend, as I said, look into the Chinese traditional medical system, into the earth, because you'll get a much different, much more positive view. If you go to like a Chinese restaurant or whatever, and they have like the fat Buddha, or this god which is like in a yellow dress looking thing, it's like really fat and it looks really funny. That's the earth element god. That's Saturn. In Western mythology, we have the red god, which is the red devil, which is Mars, and then we have the black reaper, which is Saturn, right? So we kind of fear these two forces, while in China they see them as more, I guess, positive for their kind of things. It's like different countries are going to have different archetypal forces which dominate them, for example. So it's just how things work, really. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.